Fantasy Savvy, NFC, Rotowire Online, live draft, Midnight Owl here on the East Coast, 11:54. Going to get started in a minute. I'm in the 5 slot. I'm going to bring the draft board up. But guys, like, subscribe to the channel. Fantasy Savvy on X. We have been doing a lot of these drafts, whether it's NFC, FFPC, FFWC, RT Sports, a little bit of best ball. So sit back, relax. A lot of preseason games tonight. A good debut from Shedeur Sanders last night. Some other interesting things happening. We're going to get into all of it. You guys want to comment on anything? Feel free. Fantasy Savvy on X. Like, subscribe, share. Let's go. Welcome to the Fantasy Savvy Weekly Show with your host, Steve D'Angelo, discussing high-stakes fantasy football, NFL picks, and much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, we're back. Draft board is up. Jay is in the room. He's drafting also tonight. So me and him will be going at it. I will try not to reveal too much. He's very close to me in the draft. So it should be an interesting one. Last night, I think I did one last night or 2 nights ago. It was kind of interesting. Genty was kind of going into the second round. Now, after that 1 carry -3 or whatever it was, 1 carry for -3 yards or 3 carries for -1 yards debut. So far, Chase, Bijan, Jefferson, Gibbs is off the board. I am up. And what are we going to do? I think we're going to go with the man, Saquon. So, some people are scared of Saquon because, all the carry, 400 touches last year, and maybe he falls off a little bit this year, gets hurt. And, not a lot of backs have been, very as productive or, they had a pretty significant drop off after 400 touches. But I think it's a new day and age. The treatments are better. These guys, have the best technology, the best treatment. Plus, Saquon has been through a lot of injuries early in his career. And I think he's kind of past it. I think he's kind of learning his body better. So, and plus he's still behind that unbelievable offensive line and, a great offense. Jalen Hurts still taking away touchdowns from him, but you can't really argue it with it after those first 4 guys go. You could go CeeDee Lamb there also, but I'll take it. I like it. So that's the way we started off. I think that's my second or third share of Saquon Barkley. So 3rd round reversal, if you guys aren't familiar with this, 6 points per passing touchdown. 3rd round reversal means the third pick, the 12th pick, gets the first pick of the 3rd round, rather than the first pick getting the first pick of the 3rd round. So it swings back up. Again, that was done back in the day because, the LaDainians, the Preseasons of the world were so dominant. It gave you such an advantage. So do you still get a bit, as big of an advantage? Probably not. But, they kept it in. Makes their format a little bit different. And this is the Rotowire Online Championship, $350 entry, paying $250,000 grand prize. So check it out, playnfc.com. They got tons of different types of draft. I've been doing this gladiator draft, which is kind of cool. $50. They got some promo codes on that too. You get 10, 15 bucks off. I think they'll have that throughout the weekend. $50. You draft 14 rounds. Everybody plays for you every week. It's a little bit, unlike best ball is, everybody starts every week. So it's not like a best ball lineup where, you start 10 guys and the best guys go. A little bit different here. So yeah, fun draft. They have this every single night, the Midnight Owl. I've been, it's probably like my 5th or 6th one. I've streamed like 2 or 3 of these already. So that's it. We're going to talk about some of this training camp stuff pretty soon. Let me just make my next pick. Our boy Jamie is in the chat. What's up, Steve? He's over at the expo. He was chilling with Harold Fannon's mom last night. She's sexy. Gonna start dating her. I'm sure she's pretty young. She's probably younger than me. But yeah, man, I love me some Harold Fannin. So that's pretty cool, man. He went to Bowling Green, which is in Ohio, right? So I guess he's a local kid. And you're over there in Canton, man. How has the expo been going, man? How I know you told me you ran into Mile High Luke. That's awesome. You guys, you guys joined up. That's great. But how's the expo been, man, so far? Did you meet up with Joe Carlton? I know he's over there as well. All right, let's see. So in these drafts, I don't really like the end, the 11-12 spot. And now you're seeing again, Genty going towards the 12 spot where, he's kind of going like the first, as high as like 7, 8. Now he's fallen. I think I saw him fall like the middle of the second round the other night. But I don't really like the 11-10, 11-12 spot. I guess the 11, maybe the 12. And again, 12, you get the first pick of the third round. But I did that once so far, and I didn't like the way my options there. And Puka, a little bit of concern with Stafford's back. Although today they said that Stafford threw like 60 passes, and they've been saying it's maintenance. He got the epidural, which is what pregnant women get when they're giving birth. I remember when I had my first son, they threw me out of the hospital when my wife had to get the epidural. I guess because they had some, I guess it's like it's so much pain. So they don't want the husbands like, messing with the doctor or whatever and causing some kind of, major injury into the back because it's so sensitive. So they threw me out of the hospital. I was up for like 23 hours straight because she was induced. I went down to Starbucks and it was like 7 in the morning. When that feeling when you come out of like a club or like a bar and you're like all shot out and everybody's going about their way, work. Everybody's all dressed up. I just didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I belonged in society at that point. But yeah, good news for Stafford. Did throw 60, 70 balls today. So, I don't know how concerned you really get, but I mean, he's getting older. But I think he's just an animal. He just keeps getting out there on the field. All right, I'm up next here. I can't ever seem. This is a tough choice. I haven't been getting a lot of Ladd McConkey. Again, they signed Keenan Allen. How much does that change his production now? But I haven't been getting a lot of them. I don't even think I have one share. I love Bucky Irving in this spot. Josh Jacobs, I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I'm going to have one. It's just a guy I never draft, but he could just be awesome again. I'm a little concerned about taking 2 backs with so much usage. So I don't think I'm going to do that in this build. I love Bucky Irving, but I really like Ladd, and I haven't got a lot of them. So let's do it here. And 82 catches, almost 1,200 yards. 1150 basically, 7 touchdowns last year for Ladd. They bring in Trey Harris, they bring in Keenan Allen, and Marion Hampton. So you could say is the numbers going to stay the same? Is he going to get even better? I think he'll get even better. I just think Herbert now second year in the system. I just think Ladd's the best option on that offense for him. Masterful route runner. So I like it. Gibbs, Bucky Irving for team 4. Duke, great start for him. He's always in these drafts. He's in all these freaking Midnight Owls. I mean, he's in so many. I think he leads the league in entries for sure. Um, I think Nelson said he was going to do less of them this year. But yeah, Duke probably has the most, and that's a nice little start there. I think he takes 3 backs almost every single time. Um, we'll see if he starts to switch it up as we get closer to the season. So far we got Genti, Puka, Amon-Ra, London, Nico, Achan, CMC, AJ Brown, Neighbors, Henry, Brian Thomas, Chase Brown, CD Taylor, Saquon Ladd, Gibbs Irving, Jefferson Garrett, Wilson, Bijan Brock, and Chase Jacobs. There goes JSN for the first pick of the third round by Team 12 in this third round reversal format. So, Shedeur Sanders last night, looked poised, made some really nice throws. One, I think his best throw was when he was backed up into the end zone through like a, I don't know, it was a 20-yard dig route on third down. Just you watch him in college, he can make all the NFL throws. He's a pocket passer for the most part, but he was showing some legs last night too. Now, you go against the starters, you probably aren't getting away with some of those sacks. And he did take one bad sack last night too. He did that in college too. Took a lot of bad sacks and took a lot of sacks, but Flacco's still probably going to start the season, but you'd have to think, Sanders after that performance, and if he keeps it going, he's going to be the direct backup. Pickett, he's a little bit banged up still. I guess I don't even think he played last night. Dylan Gabriel's banged up. He's got the advantage right now to be the backup to Flacco. And then, Flacco maybe starts 6-7 games. He'll probably throw like 3 or 4 picks in like week 7. And the Browns will be like, 1-6 or whatever it is. And, or whatever. Maybe it's later, like week 10. But at some point, Shedeur is going to come in. And we're going to see what he could do on the NFL level. But I thought that was a really good debut. But I think also, you're a little bit more encouraged by the Browns players now. Denver San Francisco game just came on. Repeat. Good, because I didn't see this game earlier. But you're a little bit more encouraged because now you feel better about Jerry Jeudy and Njoku, that at least they have somebody capable to throw them the ball besides Joe Flacco. And I think Sanders can do a pretty decent job at that. All right. So third round, Tyreek is intriguing. I don't know how much Tyreek I want to get, but obviously he could still break fantasy football. But you know what? In this build, I'm going to go back to elite quarterback. Lamar's already gone. I've been kind of fading the elite quarterbacks the last few drafts I've done. So I'm going to go back to it here with Josh Allen. And, I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to get Josh. I got to get a little bit more Lamar. I've been getting some more Jaden Daniels, which I'm happy about. I got some Hurts. Allen will probably be my most owned quarterback. Actually, Justin Fields might be my most owned quarterback when it's all said and done. And he ran in for a touchdown today. Was throwing, taking what the defense gave him tonight. A lot of curl routes to the backup tight end. Mason Taylor didn't play. And then, he ran one in. So that's what Justin Fields does. He's great for fantasy football. How great is he going to be for the Jets? I'm excited because I think the Jets can be with Aaron Glenn at the helm, especially. And I like the way they came out and they dominated that preseason game. And their defense was making plays. They strip sacked Malik Willis for a defensive touchdown tonight. So I just think it was a good debut. And I think Fields, I think really, I looked at the Jets schedule, and I'm a pessimistic Jets fan, just like 95% of Jets fans. At one point, I was optimistic Jets fan. That probably hasn't been since Actually, it was probably ever since the butt fumbles when I really became one of the typical Jet fan. After that, the team just fell apart, and obviously they haven't made the playoffs in 15 years now. So uh, I don't know if they can make the playoffs, but I think they could win a max of 10 games. But I think they'll win at least 8 or 9. So, and maybe they could squeak into the playoffs. Obviously, the AFC is going to be a tough task. And the Bills, run that division. Patriots should be better. Not really worried about the Dolphins. They seem like they're, that team can be broken up like the Phoenix Suns at any moment. So, um, yeah, I mean, maybe 9, 10 games for the Jets this year. And, Fields, I don't think he's the greatest quarterback, obviously, but I think he's above average. And I think he continues to get better. And I think, I don't know, I'm excited. And for years, I mean, maybe like at least 12, 13, maybe like 10 years in a row, I had no expectations. I just hated the Jets almost. I wanted them to lose. I didn't care if they lost, rather. It was just a miserable experience. So I'm excited again. Jamie says, yes, he met Joe today. Good shit, man. That's great. It was funny because I was bullshitting with Joe for like 20 minutes before I knew it was actually him. That's good. You couldn't tell by his accent. Got that heavy Boston accent, man. Um, Jay says, was JT or Lab for me? And I have more Lab. So yeah, that's the opposite. I have more JT. So, but yeah, if you would have taken Lad there, I probably would have taken JT. No, actually, I just saw the celebration. That 70-yard field. That's crazy. Cam Little, right? Yeah, that's insane. 70 yards. These kickers are unbelievable now. Jamie says, I'll catch you later, dude. I'm about to pass out. Been a long day. Understandable, man. I'm sure you got your hands tied over there at the expo. Enjoy the rest of the expo, brother. Stay safe out there. Tell Harold Fannon's mom that I love his son's game and I'm rooting for him. And enjoy, man. Hit that like button. Appreciate it, Jamie. All right, coming back up here. Oh, Jamie, one last thing. Did you see the Bears worked out Jamal Williams today? So I don't know if that's going to hurt your boy Roshan or what. I know Roshan's got a little bit of an injury. They really haven't disclosed too much yet. All right, let's see where I'm going here. Interesting spot. I've been taking a lot of Brees here. I still like Brees here. Though they were mixing a little bit Braylon Allen. You saw Isaiah Davis too. So, maybe it's a little bit more of a mixed backfield this year. I've been taking a lot of Mike Evans. I keep missing out on this guy. I don't think it's a terrible round to take him because I think he could break fantasy, but I don't know if I need to take him now. All right, I'll take him here. JMO, maybe I reached a little bit, but somebody could definitely snag him here in these next couple picks. I was taking him early, and then I kind of started fading him. But I just think he's the type of guy that can win you one of these tournaments because we haven't seen his best season yet. Obviously, we all know first year with the ACL, then the suspension, then more games missed last year. But JMO goes for 1,000 yards on 58 catches and 7 touchdowns. Also, 11 carries for 61 yards and a touchdown. Also, I think he had a huge reverse run in the playoffs as well. So the guy's different. I mean, his speed is. I'm just watching like him and Worthy. Worthy's fast as shit. We all know that. But I don't know. When I watch Williams, I feel like he's got even more of an extra gear. Like he's even crazier fast. So That's the kind of guys you want to take and, chances on are these guys that just are a little bit different from the rest of the pack as far as talent. So, some other good picks there. Brees Hall, obviously a solid running back pick there. I think Brees Hall got shitted on a little bit too much last year. Jets were a shit show. Their offensive line, was not blocking that well. There was a lot of times where Brees was tackling the backfield. He still had a lot of big plays in the passing game, and had some big runs, was making some nice cuts. Supposedly he was batting an MCL injury too. So with Fields, I think he's going to be even better this year. I've been drafting a decent amount of them. I've been missing out on JMO, so that's why I wanted to grab JMO in that spot. Sometimes you got to make you can't always get what you want here. You wish you could snatch up all these players, but you can't get everything here you want in a draft. Did do an auction, NFC auction. If you guys want to check that out on the channel, live auction. I'll probably do one or two more before the season ends. That's something where you can get whatever you want. Obviously, you have to fit it under the budget, but you could make builds that you can never do in a draft, which is the cool thing about an auction. You could come away with a Saquon Gibbs, or whatever you want. Jefferson Chase, you could do too. You probably got to spend $110, over 50% of your cap, but you can come away with that. There goes DJ Moore again. I love DJ Moore. I gotta maybe take some chances on him, but I don't know what that offense is going to look like. I don't know if Ben Johnson's going to come into town and say, let's throw 30 balls to Joe Carlton. I mean, Joe Carlton, to Luther Burden. Sorry, I saw Jamie texting me, so that made me think of Joe Carlton. Luther Burden or Loveland or Adunze. He's just not going to get the production he had when he was with Fields and all those other bum receivers. And at that point, I think Moore was going like the 4th, 5th round, and in that spot, I was loving taking DJ Moore. And he could still have a very nice season, and I still think he's the best receiver on the team. But Caleb worries me a little bit. I don't, I'm not just going to assume everything's going to be fine and dandy with Ben Johnson in there. So, I hate passing up on a player like DJ Moore that I've always liked, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Edward Abarca says, "What's up? What's up, Ed? Welcome to the show, man. I think you were in here the other night." Henderson went second in the 10 o'clock OC. I noticed he was flying up already, 4th round. Obviously things like that are going to move these guys up. I don't know if I could take him in the second. That's just too much for me. I actually haven't taken much Trevion yet. And Bill says, "What's up, Bill? Trevion to the moon." And his speed is different. That's for sure. We saw that on the kick return. And he looked good on the I think he had 1 or 2 catches and 1 carry. He looked good. He was explosive. He was running with power. So, Ramondre is Ramondre. We kind of know what he is. So we'll see how they work in Trevion and Ramondre, but you have to think, there's a good chance Trevion really could take the vast majority role in that offense. Good kid, and his speed is different for sure. All right, coming back up here. Let's see what Jay goes with here. Jaden gets his quarterback. Okay. Running backs at this point, not the greatest. Um, I think I'm going to go with Alvin. I mean, how could you really argue with Alvin Kamara? I mean, the guy just still gets it done year in and year out. Catches 50, 60 balls every single year. Um, so great for PPR. Guy's never had 1,000-yard rushing season, which is crazy. But you know, I mean, he's at his he just catches so many passes, and he's such a great receiver. And these 30-year-old running backs are just sustaining more and more. They're going. We're seeing with Derrick Henry now, and James Conner and Kamara, and I always mention Latavius Murray was like 34 years old, still still becoming still a factor in fantasy. So these guys are, they're learning to take care of their bodies better. And he's a beast. I mean, the offense isn't the greatest, but he should still catch a ton of passes. Kendry Miller's, had his injury concerns. He's healthy now, but Devin Neal's already hurt. And even if they maybe, what I think is maybe possible, maybe they trade Kamara at some point. He'll go to a contender, and he'll be the starter. So he should be the starter. So I think Kamara is very, very solid. Once again, in round 5. Travis Hunter caught a couple balls today in their preseason game. Also, you saw him on defense. Actually, I heard Caleb Johnson stiff armed him today. Did you see that, Bill? I know you're a big Steelers fan. Did you see that? I heard he stiff armed Travis Hunter. I didn't see that, but I did see Travis Hunter playing defense and offense. I think he caught a couple balls. So that was interesting. Again, Travis Hunter is a high upside pick. But when I went to the camp, I checked them out. He was throwing to Diami Brown a lot too. So I think Diami Brown is like a good best ball pick. So it's going to be mixing. He's going to be playing defense too. So he's not going to be playing all the snaps that you need, like a Brian Thomas, and Brian Thomas is the alpha there. So it's an interesting pick, Travis Hunter. I think you have to take some chances on him for sure, and I have done that. And we'll see how it comes out. But in this type of tournament, he's the type of player you got to take a chance on. Ibuka, he's getting real popular as well. Godwin, we'll see. They're hoping to get him back week 1. He's still not in camp. There's a good chance he starts the year on the pup. They just want to keep him ready for the playoffs. And we'll see. But I do like Jalen McMillan. I feel like Jalen McMillan, again, look at his numbers towards the end of last year. I think like 7 touchdowns in his last 5 games, just went off. So it's going to be interesting to see how they mix in those guys at receiver, but can't argue with Ibuka. Ohio State receivers are very, very productive in the NFL. All right. Back up here. Nobody wants Jerry Jeudy, huh? Well, after what I saw out of Shador last night, again, that comes back to my point. I do like it. I feel better about the Browns offense. So Let's take Judy. 2 Alabama receivers there, and Judy and J-Mo, and the Georgia boy and Lad McConkey. So 3 SEC starting receivers to go with Josh Allen out of Wyoming, Saquon out of Penn State, and Alvin Kamara out of Tennessee. So, pretty stable team, nice balanced team so far. Haven't grabbed my tight end yet. Sam Laporta, I think, is a good value. I actually did an FFPC draft, and I got him, I think it was in the 5th or 6th round in that draft, which is tight end premium. So I was happy about that, and I had McBride in the 2nd round. So, I feel like, people are kind of just shitting on him because he had such a slow start last year, but he was banged up, and, he finished strong. 3 touchdowns in his last 4 games. He was over 50 yards in all 3 of those in 3 of 4 games, and caught 6 balls or more in 3 of those 4 games as well. So strong finish for Laporta. Another one of those big time tight ends out of Iowa. And I believe Laporta caught more balls than all those guys at Iowa. Kittle, Noah Fant, TJ Hawkinson. So, yeah, Laporta caught the most balls at all those guys. And he fits Goff's, style the most. So that's the thing about J-Mo. Like, he doesn't really fit Goff's style, but Goff could throw bombs. I mean, he's got the arm for it, but he just prefers to kind of throw those intermediate passes. And Amon-Ra is so set up in that offense with all those rubs and motion and, shorter passes. But J-Mo's working more in the slot this year. New offensive coordinator now. Ben Johnson's out of the way. And it's going to be hopefully a full season for J-Mo. We'll see what he can do. I just really like the upside. And Billy says, wasn't a stiff arm as much as he juked him from what I saw. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I read it on NBC Sports, the blurb. They said that he stiff armed him to the ground, but I got to check it out. I do like Caleb Johnson, though. Pretty excited for him. It's going to be interesting to see how they use him in Warren. I noticed that Roman Wilson's getting a little bit more credit in camp now after he was had no news on him. So we'll see if he could be a viable target for Aaron Rodgers. Pat Freiermuth, man, nobody wants him anymore ever since Jonnu came along. I don't know. I feel like Freiermuth just seems like a Rodgers guy. So, as your second or third, your third tight end, if you need 3 tight ends, or in a tight end premium, rather, much better fit. I like taking a chance on Freiermuth. I just think he's such an underrated player. And had a pretty good year last year. 653 yards, 65 catches, 7 touchdowns, his best season yet. Just 26 years old. His rookie season was great. I mean, it was solid. 7 touchdowns, 60 catches. 2022, 63, 732 yards, just 2 touchdowns. And then 2023, I think he's banged up. Yeah, 32 catches, 2 touchdowns. And last year was a nice season for him. So, say they got Jonnu in the way. That kind of just messes everything up. Artie Smith, you never know what the hell he's going to do. So we'll see what happens. Could have Freiermuth blocking more and, Jonnu running most of the routes. But, we'll see how it all works. I don't know if DK is the prototypical receiver for Rodgers, but, maybe DK needs a quarterback like Rodgers to really maybe have a career year too. So DK, it felt like he was trending upwards and he kind of just stayed the same. And we're just really haven't ever seen that huge year from DK Metcalf. All right, coming up to me again. Yeah, and I missed out a couple backs that I wanted to take. So, like Harvey and Caleb would have been nice there as a third running back, especially Harvey. I haven't been getting a lot of him, and I want to get him. I think he's different as well. You do got Dobbins in the way though. And he's got to prove durable in the NFL, but he could be real nice for Denver. But the receivers, that they were getting kind of hit too. So, but there's one here that I think I got to take here. Hmm. All right, I'm going to take Shakir, get this stack because they're saying he's going to be back week 1. He's got plenty of time to recover. And it's not like he doesn't have the chemistry with Josh Allen anyway. So he's been playing him for what, 4 years now. So it's not like he's a rookie or second-year player. And you remember Josh Downs last year? He also had a high ankle sprain in camp. And I believe he missed maybe 1 or 2 games to start the year. But it was kind of earlier, I think around this time where he suffered it. And he had plenty of time to rest it, and he came back. He was fine. And you get worried about a high ankle sprain because that's something that kind of linger, especially for a receiver. But if you rest it long enough, and it's not like an injury during the season, which is much more devastating, because then these guys try to come back early and then they re-aggravate it. But if it happens in camp, I think you feel a bit better about it. He has time to rest, and I think Josh Downs was a good example of that last year. So that's why I don't mind taking Shakir, and his stock has been dropping a little bit because of the injury. So have Allen makes sense. And I haven't been getting a lot of Shakir. Again, that offense is going to be spread around a lot. I mean, Keon Coleman and Palmer's in there, and Moore's in the way, and Kincaid. And, last year, Matt Collins led the team with touchdowns of 5. So it's like, do you really need to stack Josh Allen? You like to, at least 1, 2 guys, but I think you could just take them because you just really never know who the hell is going to throw to week to week. You just hope that maybe one guy emerges. I don't know if it's ever going to be Shakir. I don't know if ever it's going to be Keon Coleman. I think maybe if anybody, if I had to bet on one guy possibly being like the top guy, I'd probably say Kincaid. Could be like his number 1 target, possibly. But that may not be either because Dawson Knox is still there. So I don't know. It's like I don't even know. All right, 38 minutes in here in the Rotowire Online Championship, 12:30 Eastern, Sunday morning on the East Coast here, watching the rerun of the Niners Broncos game. Is that Audric Estime right there? He's being forgotten about. Nobody wants to draft him anymore ever since Dobbins got signed. But I always root for Estime. Again, he played at St. Joe's, Montvale, big parochial school there in North Jersey. Watching Bo Nix here. Again, these quarterbacks that we all assume after the rookie season are going to bang again in the second year. And we always say there's so many quarterbacks out there. It always seems like that. But then, you take some of these quarterbacks and they're just frustrating. They have a lot of these shitty games. And meanwhile, the elite quarterbacks just continue to get it done year in and year out, whether it's Allen, Jackson, Burrow, or Hurts. Burrow's obviously had his injury concerns, but Jaden Daniels, same thing. Like you expect him to, he was so terrific last year. You expect him to get even better, but you just never know. Cliff Kingsbury's offense could get figured out. McLaurin, who knows? Maybe, I think he'll be back, but you just never know how things could shift so fast in the NFL. So that's why, like Josh Allen, when you take him, you just know what you're getting because he's done it year in and year out, finishing QB1, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. Lamar Jackson, same thing. And Jackson's burned you too. I guess Allen, you could say, is the safest because he's never missed a freaking game in his career. back up here. Man, I like this. I like this spot for this player right here. Do need some depth at back in the backfield, but I think it's a good time for TJ Hawkinson. And I've been wanting to get him. I don't know for how much I got him yet, but JJ McCarthy, man, I think he's going to be solid. I kind of was a little bit vague on JJ McCarthy, and then I went back and watched all his throws, and it was like, wow, he's going to be good. And you don't even really need to be that good in this system. I mean, we already seen, again, Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins blow up, and now he's got Jefferson. He's going to get Addison back at some point, but Naylor's capable. It sucks that Rondale Moore, I think, probably is out for the year. That might have been a pretty decent piece in that offense if Rondale Moore was getting out there with his speed, with all those other weapons. So I thought that was a good signing by the Vikings, actually. But yeah, it sounds like he might be out for the year. I know he left on the cart today. There goes Jordan Mason, another good pick. Speaking of the Vikings. But yeah, JJ McCarthy, I like, and Hawkinson, I mean, with Addison out 3 games, should be the second target, and maybe he's the number 2 target all year. You don't know. TJ Hawkinson, again, another Iowa tight end. Very, very talented. And now he's 2 years removed from his knee injury. There goes Keon Coleman. So ends my dreams. Team 9 takes 4 straight receivers. Starts with McCaffrey, then goes A.J. Brown, then gets Hampton, Breece Hall. What are you guys' thoughts on Marion Hampton? I mean, the opportunity is immense. And I don't know what's going on with that. It's like the weirdest thing ever. But I guess anytime fireworks are involved, and, we're not getting any news, it just seems, the Marion Hampton show. But, they did lose Slater for the year. So, I don't know. I like Hampton. I think he's got some – I think he's good, but he's not my favorite. Actually, I like Caleb Johnson. I think Caleb Johnson's a better running back than him. Hampton, to me, has, like, slow feet. But, the opportunity in that offense is just immense right now. So, I haven't been taking any of them. I could get burnt by it. But I don't know. And he could just fall into the end zone 10 times by default just for an opportunity in that offense, just like Dobbins did. So, Dobbins, I think, had 9 touchdowns. So, but do you want to pay a 3rd round? I don't know. I think it's a little too expensive for me. And I think Najee's going to come back at some point. I mean, maybe he starts the year on the pup, but I mean, his eye's going to open up at some point, right? I mean, so I mean, I think it could be like a 60-40, maybe with the eye. Before the eye, I thought it would be a 50-50. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not this one player that everybody seems to love that I'm not in on as much, or really in on at all, because I don't know if I've drafted him once, including best ball. And I don't know if that's a mistake or not. I've certainly been burnt in the past by fading certain running backs. But you got to stick to your guns. We all can't like all the same people. You got to fade some guys that you want to fade, and you got to buy, more shares than most on the guys you have feelings on. But I did, obviously he's a talented running back, powerful running back. I just thought he had slow feet, and I thought there was other more talented backs. Like, I think I like Harvey more, obviously Genty, Caleb Johnson, those 3 specifically. And Trevion, maybe even Trevion. I think it's close between those 2. I think I like Trevion more too. Cam Scatterbo, actually, I think I like him more than Hampton. So yeah, I'm not really high on Hampton. Cam Scatterbo did not play today. He's still a bit banged up. Tracy actually fumbled the ball early in the game. So, that was his issue last year. Fumbles and some drops. So it showed its ugly head early in the preseason, but Scatabo wasn't there to take advantage of it because he's banged up. So that's going to hurt him. But I do still like taking chances on Cam Scatabo. I think he's a really good ninth, where he's going in the middle of the draft. Good picks here at tight end, Ingram and Tyler Warren. I mean, you could say, you could wait on tight end. I mean, you really don't have to take the Bowers and the McBrides of the world. Kittle goes in the 5th. That's nice. Usually he's going in the 4th. You could take the Laporta. So, I mean, Hockenson should have a rebound year. Andrews should be solid again. Now, likely, we don't know when he's coming back. Tyler Warren looked good in the preseason, catching a bunch of targets early on. Ingram in Denver. So tight end actually, I mean, you hate to say tight end is always is deep, but it really is deep this year. I think it legitimately is deep. Whereas the quarterbacks, you could say it's deep, but it could get a little more vague, I guess. With some of these guys like Mahomes, we're all expecting him to have a bounce back year, but maybe he kind of stays the same. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, when you can get Mark Andrews in the 8th round, and TJ Hockenson and Kelsey in the 8th round, and Laporta in the 6th, Ingram, even Ingram in the 9th, Tyler Warren, who, I think should have been the top tight end taken in the draft. Obviously Ben Johnson was a style fit with Loveland there, but I really do think that you can wait on tight end and grab like 2 of these guys, and they should be fairly solid. But Kittle just, everybody's kind of taking Kittle there in the 4th round. I mean, but he could be the leading receiver there for San Fran. I mean, he could really have a big, big season now with Debo gone. So, Kittle could just have a monster year. So, you could say pass up on McBride and Bowers. But again, McBride's going to catch all those targets. I mean, you just know what McBride's going to do. And you know what Bowers is going to do. So I think you can't leave all your drafts without drafting those guys sometimes. You got to take some shots on Bowers just because of the talent. Same thing with McBride. Just Murray just loves him. Oh, shit. Look at this. I'm on the clock. I'm rumbling, bumbling, babbling here. Oh, my God. Well, this guy's solid, man. He's sitting there like a loaf of bread. So, I haven't been drafting him in a while, but Brian Robinson, I think, as your 3rd running back is pretty solid. Especially, with the running backs that are left, you get a starter on a good offense. He's had a little bit of injury concerns, but he kind of, he's never like missed a bunch of time. Brian Robinson, he's a big back. He's a nice goal line back. There's no other guy that's really a threat. I know everybody loves Krosky Merritt, but he's not going to just come in there and take Brian Robinson's job. Especially on the goal line. So, B-Rob last year, almost 1,000 total yards, 20 catches, 8 touchdowns. The year before, 9 touchdowns. His rookie season, remember, he got shot. So he missed, I think he missed 4 games. I think it was his rookie season when he got shot. I think he missed games in 2023 with an injury too. But 200 carries his rookie year, another 800. So he gets you about 800 yards. He could get double-digit touchdowns this year. And he's getting the ball. So there's no real threat there to take away his role. Njoku is an interesting pick. Another good tight end pick. I guess 2 holes in the Njoku, or maybe 3. The quarterback play, I guess you could still question, right? If Flacco, I mean, just because Sanders had a good debut doesn't mean he's going to be good, when it comes to the real deal, which could hurt him. But I mean, Sanders, he likes those intermediate passes too, so that's like right up Njoku's alley. So, but also Harold Fannin could have more of a presence. Jamie met Harold Fannon's mom tonight, which is crazy. I don't know if he's telling the truth, but for some reason, I don't know why he would lie about that. At the expo, Canton. And Njoku, he has his own injury. He's always battling something. Knee injury, hamstring injury. He's always got something going on. But I mean, he's a freak. Very, very talented. And I don't know if we've seen his best season yet either. So, I mean, you look at all these tight ends: Bowers, McBride, Kittle, Laporta, Ingram, Warren, Kelsey, Hawkinson, Joe. They're all just so talented. So, again, you could wait on tight end. You could fill your room nicely. But Bowers and McBride are going there for a reason, because of the amount of targets they're going to get. And McBride, the touchdowns, I mean, if that comes around, he could be monstrous. So, you got to take some shots in those guys, I think. All right. 3 receivers, 3 running backs. We got our tight end, we got our quarterback. What are we looking at here? Somebody take. So all of a sudden, people are starting to take Rashid Shaheed again, or like earlier. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if somebody. I think I heard Davis Maddock pumping him up on podcasts. So it may have. I'm going to take Tucker Kraft. I like taking Tucker Kraft, man. I just feel like he's gonna have a nice season. I mean, I usually take Rashid Shaheed in that spot, but he made a nice pick there. I've been getting so much of him. He just always falls to me in this range. He just always seems to be kind of sitting there, and I just grab him. So we got our 12 personnel. We got our 3 receivers, or 4 receivers rather. And then we got 3 running backs. So I think we need to, we're good on quarterback for a long time. We don't need any more tight ends. So we got to fill out this running back room and fill out this receiver room, and maybe end the draft with 1 more quarterback, close to the end. Najee's still sitting there. Ramondre, Garendo, he's hurt again. This guy's always freaking hurt. And now Jordan James is the Shanahan backs. He's just always getting hurt. It's just constant. And Patrick Taylor, I saw, scored a touchdown. Tank Bigsby, he was getting popular, and then ETN started with the ones now because Bigsby was supposed to be the starter, and now ETN started. It's just like, what? You can't pay attention to all these reports. I always kind of preferred ETN over Bigsby anyway. I mean, they're probably going to mix all 3 of those guys in that backfield. Tajay Spears is hurt again. He's always hurt. Actually, he left today. That's big news, actually. Leaves the stadium on crutches. So good news for Tony Pollard, which I've been taking a lot of Tony Pollard. I like Tony Pollard in these drafts. Again, Cam Ward, better offensive line. Tony Pollard went for 1,000 last year in that shit offense. And Tony Pollard also, again, was much better last year, second year returning from that fibula injury, just like Pacheco, I think, is going to be kind of back to where he was. And, supposedly Pacheco lost some weight. Reed says he looks great. So, yeah, Tajay Spears hurt once again. Rashad White also got hurt today with a groin injury. So good news for Bucky Irving at this point. But you know, I've been always like taking Bucky Irving. I was never really scared of Rashad White. I just think Bucky is just kind of separated himself. We saw the talent difference kind of early on last year, and then towards the end of last year, Rashad White really didn't do anything down the stretch. It was just the Bucky Irving show. And Bucky was kind of a little bit banged up, but he kept getting out there. He's a smaller back, but he's a little bit different. His running style, the way he cuts and reads holes, and he doesn't have the best long speed, but he has those short bursts. So I really like his running style, and he's in a really good offense. So I think the second round pick for Bucky Irving is justified in my mind. Um, all right. So in round 11 here, almost an hour in. There's the whole board. First 10 rounds there. So far through 10 rounds, my starting lineup: Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, Lab McConkey, J-Mo, Jerry Judy, or Shakir. Starting tight end, TJ Hawkinson. And then flex, I guess either Shakir or Brian Robinson or maybe Tucker Kraft I could throw in there. So not bad from the 5 hole. I'm gonna need J-Mo to really, have a career season. I'm gonna need Judy to continue to, keep his career going after his career season last year. And I think he can. Cedric Tillman, I know people like him. I still think Judy's the best receiver on the team. So, as my third receiver, I don't hate it. I think that's a good spot for Judy, especially, compared to the other guys going around him. Lave, Pearsall definitely could. Dunze, Myers, you kind of know what you're going to get out of him. Addison should be solid again, like JJ McCarthy a lot. But I did get Hawkinson as my starting tight end, and Hawkinson, still a really, really talented tight end in this league. He had a little bit of a groin injury, but he's over that now. He's back. Then Brian Robinson for some depth at the running back position, my third running back. All right, round 11. Brian 7 says down for a mock draft. Welcome back, Brian. Bucky or Jacobs PPR? I prefer Bucky. Bro, forgot about the YouTube chat. Sorry, man. I'm back in here. I check back time to time, but sometimes I'm rambling on too much, and I miss out. My pick comes up. It's like 30 seconds left. So, yeah, man, I go Bucky there. I mean, again, I think it's close. Jacobs is a workhorse in a good offense, a team that wants to run the football still. I do get a little bit worried because the last time he had that amount of carries, he fell off the next year. He had a bunch of carries. They may have ran him more than they wanted to last year. So, Bucky, obviously, he could get hurt too, but I like Bucky slightly more. All right, I'm going to go Rashad Bateman. I think he's a solid 5th receiver. He had a nice season last year playing with Lamar Jackson. He was a former first-round pick. He was, caught a bunch of touchdowns last year, 9 touchdowns, finished the season with 3 touchdowns in a row, 4 of his last 5. Actually, really finished the season strong. 6 touchdowns in his last 8 games. Or 7 games, rather. 6 touchdowns in his last 7 games for Rashad Bateman. Only 25 years old. He had some injuries as well. They signed him to a 3-year deal, $36 million. So he's a big part of the offense still. Likely he's going to be out. So we'll see when Likely comes back. He had foot surgery the end of July. I think he broke a bone in his foot. Harbaugh said it's nothing major, and they could get him back week 1. So we'll see what happens. Quinshon Judkins, I don't know what's going on with him. I mean, he still hasn't been signed. So I don't like drafting him. I mean, I don't. It could just give you a total donut there in round 11. But if he does come back, I guess you take a shot on him. But I'm not going to take any shots on him. I'm good. Let somebody else take him. I'd rather take some other shots than somebody else. All right, let's talk about some camp stuff. I mean, some preseason stuff from today. Again, Matthew Stafford threw 60 passes during his workout today. Sounds like they're just really, he's a veteran, knows the offense like the back of his hand. Just kind of taking it easy on him. They don't want to, overdo anything. So I think he'll be okay. I think Stafford, unless he gets cracked in the back, week 4, which is possible. I guess he's getting older. I mean, it is a little bit risky, but I think for some reason, I think Stafford will find a way to just keep going. He seems like he's always kind of done that in his career. Bucks offense, Ibuka caught 1 of 2 targets for 21 yards. Beat Amani Hooker on a jump ball into the right sideline. Jalen McMillan caught pass for 25 yards. He's a big play guy for sure. People are fading him too much, I think. And he goes in the 11th round. I think that's a good pick there by Team 10. Taking him in round 11. Good pick. Some other notables. Chigo Okonkwo catches a pass for 10 yards. Calvin Ridley, 3 targets for 50. Cam Ward and Ridley should be a nice combo. He went for 1,000 last year with Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. So, Ridley should at least get 1,000 again and more with Cam Ward, who went 5 of 8 tonight for 67 yards. And had that 27-yard connection with Calvin Ridley. Again, Sanders looked good yesterday. Look at this, 30 seconds on the clock. Mumbling, stumbling over here. So there's a kid that I want if he's still there. Did somebody take him? I don't know. I'm going to take Tootin. Had a nice run today on the goal line. Pile drive his legs into the, a little bit of assist his teammates, but really a strong run. Looked like he was running with a lot of passion. And when I went to Jack's camp, he was out. He had a little bit of a hammy injury, but he's back. He played tonight. Caught a couple of passes as well. Bring up his stat line in a second. Where is he? Oh, rushed 6 times for 24 yards and 1 touchdown and caught 2 of 2 targets for 16 yards. Real strong run near the goal line. Got a little pushed in there too, but he was moving his legs. And I like Tootin. I think he's a good back to take a chance on. Again, it's going to be probably a mix of him and Bigsby and ETN, but I think he's an upside pick. Talented kid. Virginia Tech's, I think, all-time leading rusher. And you remember they had like Kevin Jones and who's the other running back that ran with Kevin Jones? If Billy's still in here, he probably remembers his name, but I can't remember. All I know is I remember I got burnt on Kevin Jones though in an keeper auction. I paid like $45 for Kevin Jones, and I signed him to a 4-year contract, and I couldn't get rid of him. And every year Kevin Jones got hurt, and I had to keep him. That was the clause. It was a disaster. I'm trying to think of the other back that played with Kevin Jones. Let me see if I can find it. Lee Suggs. Yeah, that's what it was. I think he was a pretty high pick too. Early 2000s, 2003. Lee Suggs and Kevin Jones out of Virginia Tech. Let's see where Kevin Jones was drafted in the draft. Let me just see for a sec. What round was Kevin Jones? Kevin Jones was selected in the first round of the 2004 NFL draft by the Lions. So first round pick. And Lee Suggs, I think, was a high pick too. 4th round. But yeah, Kevin Jones, man, I got so burnt by him. He just could not stay healthy and didn't really have a good career in the NFL. So, it goes to show you these rookie running backs, sometimes they're good and sometimes they do absolutely nothing. I mean, watching Trey Sermon tonight for the Steelers, I mean, he was another, I think a 3rd round pick out of Ohio State. Actually, liked him a lot. He didn't do. I mean, he went to that Shanahan doghouse, and you never really seen him again. Ryan Williams, that's another one. But I was thinking of Lee Suggs. Remember him, Billy? Kevin Jones and Lee Suggs. Lee suck for fantasy football. Yeah, I mean they both suck. Kevin Jones was terrible too. Again, I got caught into that $40 contract. That's why I know I'll never do a 4-year. I'm still in that league. Actually, it was the first league I ever did playing fantasy back in '97. It was an auction keeper league, and I used to throw out 4-year contracts like they were nothing. I learned my lesson on that. Same thing happened with Saquon. I think I drafted Saquon and I gave him a 4-year deal, and he was great the first year. Then he kept getting hurt, and I had to keep him. But then later they changed it. If the guy was out 4 consecutive weeks, you could cut him. So they changed that rule later on. All right. So some of these builds so far, what do you guys like the best? Team 3 starts with 3 receivers. Team 11 starts with 4 receivers. Me and Jay kind of, mix moshing it up a little bit. Receivers, running back, receivers, quarterbacks, tight ends. The one hole gets the Chase Burrow stack, which is obviously going to be the most common stack. But, if you build the right things around it. Jacobs, Hubbard, ETN, Javante at running back. Chase, Metcalf, Olave, Pittman, Ayuk. Pitts. I don't know if I like that build too much. Team 2, Weber. Bijan, Brock, Rashi in the 3rd round. He took Rashi and he took Quinshawn. So this is like a high upside team. But I mean, Rashi, I think he's going to get 6 games. Maybe gets that Chiefs, favoritism and only gets 4. But I think he's getting at least 4. I don't know, 3rd round. I can't unless Rashi falls, and I think Billy got him in the 6th round. At least one draft. But if he falls 5th, 6th, I think I'd take him there. 6th, I like the 6th. But if he gets, and then I'll wait though. Like he may get that 6-game suspension and start falling, maybe to the 5th, 6th, and maybe I'll take him there. But I don't even know. I don't know because I think Worthy is legit. I think Worthy was gonna take away a little bit from him anyway. Although Rice is really good. I mean, he's just fit that role so perfect. Really good after the catch, strong receiver, breaks tackles. But I think Jalen Royals can do a lot of what he does too. So I kind of like taking Royals at the end of these drafts sometimes. There goes Justin Fields. I wasn't going to take him, Jay. Actually, I probably would have taken him. I may have considered him there. So, you got him, man. I love taking him. Even if I have Allen, I would still take him. But yeah, good pick, man. Especially if Jaden goes down, you got somebody who could just be close to just as good as him. It's a good pick. All right, back to me here. Yeah. What am I doing here? I'll take a shot on Nick Chubb. He's got a head injury now. Oh, he took a hard hit to the head Tuesday, but he may have been rested anyway. So yeah, they're probably just taking it easy with him. Mixon's already out. It's the first game of preseason. Woody Marks had like 3 carries for 4 yards today. I don't know if Nick Chubb's going to be, close to even what he was, but if he is close to what he was, he could be a nice piece. So, I don't mind it. I don't mind it here in the 13th round. And Jay took my guy, so it threw me for a loop. I probably would have taken Fields there. Brian says he likes Team 12 and Team 7 second, and some Jaden insurance there with Fields for sure. Team 12, Genty, Puka, JSN, DJ Moore, James Cook, Laporta, Golden, Higgins, Cam, Tank. Yeah, it's a pretty solid team. I think all his picks are pretty sound. Team 7, Brian Thomas, Chase Brown, Marvin Harrison. I'm not a Marv guy. Trevion. One sec. Jalen Waddle, Dunze Downs, Mason, Charbonnet, Benson, May, Lawrence combo, Wandale. Yeah, I like Team 12 more. And this is what you do when you wait on quarterback. You get 2 of these guys like Love, McCarthy, or you take 3 sometimes like Knicks, Goff, Herbert. You can play matchups. And they're all solid. I mean, you could really play matchups with that. I mean, Knicks ran a ton last year. He should do the same thing again. That's the one thing about Knicks. Like you say, second year, maybe he regresses as a passer. Although with all the weapons they added and Harvey now and Bryant and Ingram, I don't see how it happens. But, it's possible. But he still has that rushing upside, so it keeps him safe. And then Herbert, I think, will run more. I think he's a good value at quarterback. Kyler, I still don't trust. Love, I don't know. Still up in the I loved shit. Look at this, 18 seconds. What am I doing to myself? All right, we got to go back to receiver here. I haven't been taking a lot of him. I'm going to grab Romeo Dobbs. Speaking of love, they're going to spread it around. Golden, Dobbs, Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed actually got hurt today. Also, something happened with him today too. Let me see if I can find that. Was seen wearing a boot on his injured left foot. Yeah, he missed Friday's practice. So he's got some kind of foot injury. So we don't know what the hell's going on with Jaden Reed. Dobbs had his own issues last year too. Remember, he didn't want to play for 2 weeks. I don't know. He was mad over something. I guess because the other guys were shining, and I guess he felt like he was the best receiver on the team. Zach Ertz, solid pick there to go with Jaden. They'll stack there for Jay and Debo. Taj Brooks didn't have a great debut. I think he had 10 carries for 26 yards the other night. But yeah, Jordan Love, I don't know. I mean, I liked him a lot last year, and the few leagues I had him in, I got burnt. And I had one team. It was the Super, which with Chad was in that league, and I started with Saquon, Gibbs, Achane, and I was in second place all year. And then I got to the playoffs, and I lost in the playoffs. So I didn't win anything. I just finished outside the money. It was crazy because my team was so good all year. And the reason I didn't do well was because of Jordan Love. If I would have had a more secure a quarterback, again, I took those 3 backs early. So, I missed out on the Lamars and the Allens. But I could have took Burrow, and that's who Chad had, and Burrow went nuts. So that's what happens sometimes when you think you got to figure out a quarterback by waiting. And I forget who my second quarterback was. I think I may have taken Anthony Richardson. I don't even remember. But that's what kind of cost me. If I would have had a more secure quarterback, I would have definitely cashed in that, which would have been huge. So I think I'm going to try it again this year. That was my second time doing that. And Chad was in both those leagues, and he won both times. So credit to him, man. Guy gets it done. But yeah, I mean, I had the RB1 and the RB2, and I didn't cash, which sucked. McCarthy is such a value, man. I agree. I think he's a good value for sure. I feel pretty confident in McCarthy actually taking him. I don't see how that fails unless he gets hurt because the weapons are so good. O'Connell's the QB whisperer, and they had that backup today in looking like Kirk Cousins. I forget what his name was, but he looked pretty good. Better to start to a redraft league. Nico and Jacobs or Achane and AJ. That's close. I think I'd go with Nico and Jacobs. But it's close. I mean, I don't know, man. That's a tough one to pick. Again, I'm not I guess I'm concerned about a possible Jacobs injury, but you can't just bake that in. So I think if everybody's healthy, probably Nico and Jacobs. Quentin Johnston, I don't know. I don't know what to think, but not a bad pick in the 15th round. There's some injuries. He's in a good opportunity. Had a nice year 'last year. He still drops a ton of passes. Kyle Williams, I like him. Supposedly he's at an up and down camp. Actually ran a nice route yesterday, but I forget who underthrew him. It wasn't May. The backup for New England, but he had the corner beat. But he was a highly productive receiver from Washington State. Good route runner. Could be the number one there. I don't know. They have a ton of guys there in New England. So, but 14th round, I think it's a solid pick. Pat Bryant, I like him a lot. 13th round. Sometimes you find in some of these drafts, people like Pat Bryant a lot. He goes a little bit earlier. Sometimes he falls a little bit later too. Wandale, he's going to catch 18 passes for 40 yards in the span of 3 weeks. He just catches all those 5-yard passes. But maybe Daniel Jones is gone now. Get rid of those, 6-7 yard passes that he loves to throw constantly. I thought Jackson Dart actually looked pretty good today. Made some nice throws. I took Thielen the other night. Haven't taken much of him. I like the upside pick in Betch. Quarterbacks are going up. Jeez. I'll take Cam Ward as my backup. Why not? I was taking Richardson. And he's back, actually. He's dislocated his pinky. I still will take Richardson, but I've been taking him a lot in these drafts, like kind of around this, maybe 16th, 17th round. I still think he could win that job. I mean, just Daniel Jones, I just watched, he just looked like the same. He still missed like 3 or 4 throws, made some good throws, but it's just, I don't know. The way he just moves the offense is just, I don't know. There's not like, it's just so vanilla. Same thing with Russell Wilson today. I mean, like he completed 6 passes for 28 yards. And then, you see Jackson Dart come in and like the offense is looking a little more explosive. He's running. It's the same thing with Richardson. I just feel like he's going to earn the job. And, again, he's a high upside pick in fantasy. But, he could play 3-4 weeks. He's a guy that gets hurt constantly. So he's still a wild card, but a guy that I think he takes shots on in some spots. There goes Jordan James. All right, I got to think about my next pick here. Blake Corum had 2 touchdowns today. Played before Jarquez, who I've drafted 9,000 times. I probably got to stop doing that. But again, running backs always seem to look better in the preseason. It's very deceiving. And are the Bears really going to sign Jamal Williams? Alec Pierce, man. I feel like there's so many guys in that offense, but I'm going to take Betch. I do like Pierce, but he's just like he's so hard. He's better for best ball. One game he'll give you 100 yards and a touchdown, like 3 weeks in a row, give you 20 yards, and then he'll go for another 100-yard game. You just never know when he's going to explode. Adonai should be a little bit better this year. Now they got Warren, Pittman down. So it's like, I don't mind taking him, late if I have Richardson or something, but he'll probably be a guy that I pick up on the waivers again this year. I remember last year I picked him up like 3 or 4. I picked him up like 3 times. I dropped him 3 times. I kept chasing his freaking explosive because look at his game logs. He starts the season 3 for 125. I definitely picked him up after week 1. And then he had 556 in a touchdown. He started the year 2 touchdowns, 2 highly productive games, 21 fantasy points, 16 fantasy points. Then the next 2 weeks, 1 for 44, 1 for 9. Then week 5, 3 for 134 and a touchdown. Then week 6, a donut. Week 7, 2 for 15. Week 8, 1 for 11. Week 9, 3 for 41. Then week 10, 8 for 81. Week 11, 3 for 74. Week 12, 1 for 39. Week 13, 2 for 16. Another donut in week 15. Week 16, 6 for 122 and a touchdown and 2 for 57 and a touchdown. But he did finish with 3 touchdowns his last 4 games. So he's very sporadic. But I guess he could help you win you a week. It's just you don't never know when to freaking use him. And he's going to be like your 6th, 7th receiver. So it's like, that's why I'm saying he's a best ball play. But I don't know. You never know. Maybe he gets even better. I do like his game. And, 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's basically what Marvin Harrison did last year. Although, he only had 37 catches. That's 22 points. Took a big hit on the TD pass. Sorry, man, I missed it. Who are you talking about again? Brian says, gut feeling that DJ Moore will finish as top 10 receiver. I don't think he could do it with Caleb. And all those other weapons. Could have did it with Fields if Fields didn't miss a month. I think was he top 10 that year? I don't think he was top 10. Let me see where he finished that year. Or if you guys find it before me, let me know. But he had a monster year that year, Moore. And Fields missed a month. And once Tyler Badgett came in, it was like a bunch of 5 for 50 games. I don't know. He's talented enough to do it, but I just don't think with I don't know. I don't know what there's just too many guys. I don't know what the hell Ben Johnson's gonna do. I don't know if he's gonna feature more, but if he does feature him like a Monra, then for sure he could do it. And I hate not drafting him because I do love DJ Moore. I'm just off the bear. I'm like anti-Bears, which is probably against consensus because Ben Johnson. But yeah, it's just the way I feel. And I just, it's obviously they could still all be good for fantasy, regardless. And I was saying that the other night. But there's just so many guys, so I don't know. I don't really know who to pick. And I just, for where they're going, I don't like it. I guess Loveland and Burden are the 2 guys that have the most value. And they're the two guys that he handpicked too. So maybe those are the guys you're supposed to take shots on. All right, there goes Dante Thornton, the speedster out of Tennessee. I took Jack Betch before him, but Thornton's supposed to get more snaps. But I like Betch's talent more. I feel like he's better fit for getting more targets in the NFL. Could be more of a consistent player. I had 2 picks left here at the positional spots. I'm gonna take Jalen Royals. I like Jalen Royals. I feel like he might have a. I feel like Jalen Royals might have a big role in this offense at some point this year. I mean, he always brings his receivers along slow. Rice had a slow burn in the beginning, and even when Rice was like, he looked like the best receiver on the team. He still waited to like week 10 to unleash him. And then last year, Worthy didn't really get going towards the end. It took him a little while to get going. I think the same thing will happen with Royals, but Royals may be forced into the offense earlier than expected with a 6-game Rice suspension. Maybe Hollywood Brown, he never could stay on the field. So he may get thrown into that offense. I mean, I think he's better than Sky Moore. I don't know. Maybe you could say they're not going to go back to the Sky Moore train. So, I think Royals, man, is not a bad pick this late. Bucky top 5. I could see that 100%. I'm with you on that. Ben did say he saw Amon-Ra and DJ Moore. We'll have to see. Yeah, I mean, if you just get DJ Moore the ball in space, you're right, man. Maybe I got to pay attention to that a little bit more. But yeah, if you get DJ Moore in the slot and throw him screens, even give like Jamar Chase, like give him those quick curls, let him run past the defense. Like that's what he did a lot when Fields was there. And he created all those big plays. Like a lot of those plays were like Fields throwing him like 7-yard curl routes and then Moore just creating, big runs. And that's what they got to get back to. So, yeah, man, I'm happy you came into the room today because maybe that's the one. I mean, I didn't even like the Bears last year either. I wasn't drafting any of them, but I did take more in some spots. So I'll probably have to grab some DJ Moore at some point. Jay says I'm fine with the Bears, just by not pushing them up. Betch wasn't available. Did you want Betch there? So you're with me on the Betch over Thornton? All right, back to me. Let's see. One last spot, reserve spot here. Who am I going with? 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs. Roman Wilson, there he is. I have a ton of receivers, but I only have 5 running backs or 6. Let me see. I think I have 5 or 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5. Not great. Not great, Bob. I don't like only having 5 running backs. But, I mean, the running backs that are there, could have took Kareem Hunt, Estime maybe. I don't know. Ty Johnson, I guess. You never know what the hell he's going to do either. I mean, he was actually he went nuts down this stretch. Ty Johnson had 6 touchdowns in his last 5 games. Going into the playoffs, obviously. But I mean, they love to use him as a receiver. Allen called him the best third down running back in the game. So I mean, he has some worth. But yeah, I'd grab him on the waiver wire or whatever. The running backs are there, just don't do anything for me. Alexander Madison, maybe. I don't know. AJ Dillon. I don't know. Phil Maffa. Damian Pierce. Not a terrible one, considering the Mixon injury, and Chubb always hurt too. All right. Sorry, guys, with the board. And the guys I usually take snatched up. Where did Yeah, I mean, Bashard Smith was gone. Hunter was gone. I mean, all those guys were gone at this point. I kept taking receivers because I feel like, I don't know, there's some guys that I liked more than the backs. Yeah, running back room isn't the strongest in this team. I mean, obviously I have Saquon and Kamara. Probably should have dropped. I probably should have picked up Will Shipley instead of Dobbs in the 14th round. That would have been a smart move. Even Kendre Miller, I usually get. Wasn't even able to get him either. He went in the 15th round. I could usually get him at some point. He was gone too. Although I took Cam Ward, I could have took him there. Anyway, it's all good. Just gotta have to hit the waiver wire during the year. Pretty close on Betts versus Thornton. Yeah, I mean Thornton's like that. His speed and size is different for sure. I just think Betts just feels like a guy that will have more production. But we'll see. All right, guys. Well, 1:30 in the morning here on the East Coast. Isaac Tesla goes there. He's been having a good preseason, rookie receiver there. We're going to finish this thing up with a defense and a kicker. But everybody, thanks for joining me tonight. Once again, we'll be back for another one probably Monday or Tuesday. Take a break tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to do a Rotowire. Probably maybe go back to FFWC. Got to get back in there. But we'll see. But anyway, we're going to do some I think we got some betting previews next week. And maybe some division previews as well. We'll see what we got. I'm going to bring on some other guys as well into the show. But thanks for joining me, everybody. Let's go over the team real quick. So starting lineup is going to be Kamara, Barkley, Lad McConkey, Judy Shakir. You start 3 receivers in this format. Josh Allen. Tight end is TJ Hawkinson. There goes Harold Fannin. And then the flex, either Brian Robinson, Khalil Shakir, Tucker Kraft. The bench is going to be Rashad Bateman, Bashaw Tutin, who had a nice run today in the preseason goal line touchdown run, who I think could, get some meaningful carries in Jacksonville this year. Romeo Dobbs, we'll see if he's the number 1, the number 2. there in Green Bay this year. I need a defense. Let's go with the Jets, baby. Like the way they look today. Aaron Glenn got those boys playing. Cam Ward is my backup quarterback for Josh Allen. It's just an emergency backup there. I might even cut him at some point. We'll see. Jack Betts, Jalen Royals, Roman Wilson. I think Betts, he's probably a guy I'm going to have to hold on to for over a month. I may cut him by week 2, week 3. We'll see. Jalen Royals, we'll see if he has a role in the offense early on with Rashee Rice suspension and maybe Hollywood Brown's out. So I kind of have high hopes for him. And then Roman Wilson as well, starting to emerge in camp a little bit, caught a couple passes today as well in the preseason game. So I like it. Out of the 5 spot, again, I'm secure with Josh Allen. He's going to give me those consistent fantasy points. My first share of Ladd. Saquon, we'll see if he could, stay pretty damn steady after all that usage. Kamara, he's getting up there in age, but still will catch a ton of balls. Hockenson, I think, is going to have a bounce back season. So good depth, except for my running back depth. Sometimes my teams come out like this when I don't have the best running back depth, and I don't ever really feel great about it, but I'll figure it out on the waiver wire. I'll be fine. We'll see how this, a lot of good fantasy owners here, a lot of smart, sharp guys. So never easy in the NFC. So thanks, Jay. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Bill, Jamie. And we also had, who else do we have in here tonight? We had one more pop in. I think it was, what was his name? I'm trying to find his name up here. Edward. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, thanks guys for joining me tonight. Again, subscribe, share. We'll be back for more of these. We got plenty of time to get more drafts, and I got to do some more best ball drafts on DK and Underdog as well. I got to start filling those in, but plenty of time to get. It's going to be constant drafting all the way up until Saturday night before the first Sunday. We may even live stream one, Friday or Saturday night too. We'll see. But that's it, guys. Take care. Follow me on X at Fantasy Savvy. There it is below. And that's it. I'm going to leave the draft board up, play a little bit of music, finish this draft out with a kicker. We'll get out of here. $1:43 on the clock, 1:37. Bunch of preseason games tonight. Covered some of the happenings. And we'll be back Monday or Tuesday for another one. So take care, guys.